Okay, we're here. Sorry for the delay. If anybody is in the chat channel, hi. Thanks for joining us. Adventures in Lollygagging. We're playing Genlab Alpha tonight. It is a Mutantyearzero campaign from Free League. And we are on 7th session or so. And we're about to be starting a new operation, which is pretty cool. So if you're unfamiliar with Mutantyearzero, it is a post-apocalyptic setting. Genlab Alpha specifically follows a resistance of mutated animals. So these are kind of anthropomorphic. These are sort of half human, half animal types, or no, maybe just all animal types, but they're kind of, kind of humanish now. And they are trapped within Paradise Valley by this overlord group called the Watchers, these robotic descendants or stewards, custodians for the human race that has been keeping them trapped for their entire lives. And so the resistance, who the players are a part of, are rebelling and trying to get the heck out of here. So before we get going, quick plugs. We play a couple other games that you could hear or watch on Thursdays. A couple of us here, we play over on twitch.tv/ZweihanderRPG. We play a Zweihander game, completely different type of game. It's more kind of fantasy horror type setting. We are playing there 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Every Thursday, so come check us out there. And then our regular weekly podcast drops on Monday. Do I sound quiet?
No, you sound solid.
Okay. All right, good. I was having some mic problems on Thursday, so if you guys hear anything, let me know. Let's see. What else? And then our Monday game. So our Mondays, we release a audio only podcast anywhere you can get podcasts, called Adventures in Lollygagging, so just search for it, and that is another Zweihander game. Okay, so let me turn myself up a little bit, and hopefully that's a little helpful.
It was quiet at first, and then I opened up someone else's stream, and then it worked fine, so I don't know.
Okay. Just remember that you guys get sound from Zoom, so my Zoom might be low for you guys.
No, I meant in stream.
Okay.
I had you open in stream.
Okay,
so.
Good deal. I'm just looking at the mixer, and the mixer looks pretty good. So,
okay.
But if you hear it, let me know. All right. So last time, I'll do the quick summary here so we can get going. They last month, so to speak, every strategic turn is basically a month. They went. This group here was sent to the ape habitat to try to do some reconnaissance in terms of what the Watcher presence was like, and also what potential Watcher sympathizers might be like. And they were sent by their resistance leader Truffaut to make contact with a gorilla named Largo, a younger, very large, very powerful female gorilla who was said to be sympathetic to the resistance cause. However, she didn't just immediately say, hey, yeah, let's be part of the resistance. She wanted some proof that you all were capable of fighting the Watchers, of being tough and savvy and all that kind of stuff. And so you were sent to a checkpoint, we'll call it, for Sentinels, because you were trying to track down a missing gorilla friend of hers. You managed to do that. Cujo had a strange incident, though, where he kind of went feral, disappeared into the woods for many, many hours. You eventually tracked him down. He's got some memory blocks, but he's getting these flashes as his memory during that time is slowly coming back to him. Flashes about these sort of dead or wounded turtle and rabbit, and like this somehow there was a mine shaft and a cave that was associated with it that you guys didn't have time to fully explore. And then after recovering him, you went back to the ape tribe, got Largo on your side, but she says you needed to still talk to one of the elders, and specifically she sent you to Boar 21, who is an orangutan elder and had full control over the way in which the food distribution on the ape islands is handled, and he just wasn't having it. And it's kind of curious why she would send you there to a guy who just didn't want to listen. He wanted to arrest you guys, but you managed to escape, each in your own different way. Cujo once again went feral and was ferally, crazily swimming across the river, but fortunately everyone was able to track them down. But in the process of escaping, a raid on the ape islands was begun by the Watchers, as a variety of chimpanzees that you had met along the water, fisher folk, were slaughtered or captured. and apparently more sentinels were headed to the islands themselves. So you all escaped, headed back to Truffaut, worked out some basic plans for what to do next time. So we're gonna pick up right around there, and we're gonna quickly move through. So as you get back to Truffaut's at the downed helicopter, you can see that Ringo is there and Wildpaw is there as well, and he when he listens to your debrief, he seems to be a bit, he's frustrated and he's concerned. Largo would be a incredibly powerful ally, not just because she is so big and strong, but also because she's a young up-and-coming voice in the ape tribe that is, as you all witness, so dominated by an older kind of conservative watcher-friendly group, and that getting that voice to possibly recruit and push the younger folk towards resistance. So he's a little concerned, and he's immediately going to start sending out feelers to get an idea of what's going down in that ape tribe, including a group of rabbits who are loyal to the resistance that might be able to not only figure out what went down, but see if they could take out some of these known watcher apologists. So you spend some time, you do your planning, you figure out where you're going to go, and then as per usual, you're given a couple weeks. It's time to go lay low. Don't be seen together for too long, and you all kind of return one by one to your habitats. Helena, we're going to start with you, because on your way back to the cat village, or the cabin village, the cabin village is on the western of the two the peaks. It's kind of a little bit up the slopes. It's kind of an old ski cabin area, and where a decent chunk of the cat population lives, but probably half of them are out in the wild hunting and doing other sorts of things. There's only really one easy path up the mountain that takes you into the cabin. Otherwise, it's going to be hard climbing and sort of navigating. But on the way back, you notice that the road itself that you very frequently take back up to the village has suddenly become populated with what looks to be a squad of sentinels. They don't seem to be doing anything other than monitor. As you watch from a distance, you can see some cats of various kinds going or coming through the road, passing by. Some are being harassed by some of these watchers on the road. Others are being let pass, no problem. Others are being turned back. And as the day progresses and the time comes, you have a choice to make. You either go ahead and take your chances going through the checkpoint like all these other cats are doing, or you try to navigate by yourself because your cell members have all gone to their various homes. You try to navigate yourself the wild and the wilderness and the dying light of the day, which
What
you know
kind
would
of check would that be?
You're talking about like how would you get out of here by yourself?
Well, like which check would it take to get through the woods, I guess?
I would probably call for a heavily modified scout roll. So it'd be like scout with a negative mod, and then I would roll some danger dice to see if you run into anything.
Ooh.
Danger dice.
Well, I have 0 scout dice, and I only have 2 wits. So
You're much smarter than that, though, actually.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
No problem.
I guess I'm gonna. Well, I don't really have anything on me that's bad,
Okay.
so I guess I'll try the good old road.
Okay, so as the sun settles on the horizon to the west, and the dark kind of starts taking over, you can see ribbons of pink and stuff through the trees. You summon all of the gumption that a Siamese cat could have, and you trudge up to the checkpoint, and you are immediately stopped without any, not harshly, but like the robotic voices of the watchers that you've come to be familiar with, coming out of some speaker, some microphone on the metal chassis. Halt! Halt! What is your business? Something to that effect. I don't know. It's a robot voice. And so they're kind of like looking over you, and you can see like a drone starts hovering and circling around you, and they're doing like a kind of a flashlight, like spotlight on you, and then their various laser lights are doing some sort of scan, and they're waiting. It seems stand by, and they're waiting for a response.
We need the robotic version of like, who are you?
Stand by. What
are you?
is your? Identify yourself.
So she'll just say, Helena 7. I'm heading home. I was looking for medicinal herbs, but I couldn't find what I was looking for.
Okay. All right. Calculating. And then it's the first time I get to use this little one. This is a new thing for me. So, do not be alarmed, citizen Helena. Do not move, flee. Show us your possessions. And you see like this sentinel arm begin to come out of, like, he's got this big giant arm sweeping down from the shoulder, but like almost like a Swiss Army knife. It just flips out whatever kind of gun barrel was there. And then you see kind of like a claw hand, and it begins to like reach down and start going through your things, while one of the other sentinels is just kind of staring at you with guns. And the drone is still kind of hovering across.
She'll just kind of like hold her bag open.
Do you have any artifacts on you?
No.
So you didn't take any of the ones that Tchaikovsky found or that you guys found when you were in the dog tribe? Okay.
I took nothing.
Okay. And they say, and after like a good 5 minutes of going through and analyzing everything you have,
I've got like fish I've got that I bought.
And none of that alarms them. And they say, citizen, you may pass. And then they let you on your way. And you return up the road into the cat habitat. And we'll come back to you at some point.
That was terrifying. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move over to the dog tribe. Let's go from cats to dogs. McCloud, you start. So you head home. No real problems on the roads or anything like that. As you kind of say goodbye to the others that were heading to the Badger tribe, and maybe you walked with Cujo and Hamill for a bit, and then eventually split off as you reached a point on the map that would make sense. But when you come to the gates, some of the lodge guards are eyeing you a little warily because you're coming up alone, and they're like kind of asking you like, where you been? Because you've been gone for a little while. Like, I'm kind of curious. This isn't the first time this has happened. I mean, it's not uncommon for you to be questioned if you've been gone from the lodge for too long.
Yes, I'm going on long solo journeys to really understand my visions.
And then you hear one of them just say, visions, this one just... And then the other one is just, you get a look on their face that looks kind of curious, like they're kind of, what visions?
Visions of a better place.
What better place than the lodge?
Oh, better than the lodge. Homes that are flourished, flora that's bloomed.
Mm-hmm. And the other one's just sort of looking at you up and down, this small teenage pup with his silly hat, and it's just not taking you seriously. But there's one that still seems to be kind of continually asking you questions like, what is fauna? What is... Doesn't seem to understand.
Yeah. I could tell you more about it, but it's all these plants. This greenery.
And where is this?
It's somewhere beyond, further than I can see right now.
All right, go ahead, and I want you to roll a dominate check, and you can modify it by, I'll give you +3, as one of them is definitely interested in your little task. Okay. And then, where did I put my dog tribe? I have so many NPCs now. You guys can't see them all, thankfully, but there's just so many.
There's so many tribes and so many places.
There are. It's pretty awesome. All right, so let me roll my sense of motion. Okay, so you would need to push if you want to be successful.
All right, I'll do it.
Okay. Okay. You're gonna suffer 3 points of was it doubt? Doubt, yeah. You suffer 3 points of doubt as the push becomes quite intense, and as you try to come in, the one who is kind of skeptical of you kind of pushes you around a little bit, and he's like, "If you want to go to better place, then go," and just sort of throws you away. And the other one is kind of looking at you sort of apologetically. And as the night progresses, it's like a couple hours before you're let in, as the 2 guards kind of switch out for another 2 guards, and the one that was kind of receptive to you comes and finds you. Maybe you're off by some broken down car, and brings you in. But I would imagine 3 points of how's 3 points of doubt sit with you?
I have 5 originally, so it comes down to 2.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it kind of hurts.
Okay. So they eventually like bring you inside at that point, once the kind of angry, mean looking one comes in. All right, we're gonna do a switch over now to the Badger tribe. And let's see. This is Hamill and Cujo. As you're heading back, you notice as the night's getting a little bit closer, as you approach the tribe, you can see that there are quite a few drones up in the air that seem to be circling around, not just every part of the habitat, the roads, the forests, the meadows, and even over the actual habitat itself, the various warrens and things like that. None of them seem to swoop down, but periodically they hover above you, and you get that spotlight comes down on the 2 of you moving through the trees on some path that you found that will lead you back. Doesn't say anything. It just has a spotlight on you. Are you doing anything? And I would imagine Hamill, you would probably harken back to what happened with Hamilton when you got your brother abducted.
I got my brother abducted?
Yep. That's what you get for saying you have a brother. If you didn't come up with a brother, he wouldn't have gotten abducted. See? It's all your fault.
And then here's
Hamill's
me
gonna
saying,
plot our
"Listen,
demise.
should be siblings."
Yeah.
Right? Now we know that's a bad idea.
Weird stuff happens to Melissa's family in our campaigns. So,
This is very
the
true.
Starfinder
So,
one's the best.
First off, I need to say that Hamill is going to be side-eyeing Cujo the entire walk, because Cujo just tends to go crazy for no clear reason. So
Wow,
this is very
Way to uphold the stigma against going feral. You should be better than that.
Wow. So you're a mental health professional. Good.
I've just been trying to collect animal powers to better our fight against the Watchers. Okay.
It's fair.
there's a little bit of that, Cujo serves as a
Wild
safety
card.
person, kind of a little personal guard while walking. So the idea of him just going feral and running away and being on her own is kind of not something that she's wanting. So there's going to be that process while walking. And so essentially she's just going to be kind of tucked kind of right underfoot of him during this time. So if she's going, so is he.
Okay. Cujo, the whole way back, 2 things are happening to you. Occasionally you're getting a little quick flash of this rabbit with this incredibly fearful look on its face, kind of going on, and you kind of shake it off and it kind of goes away. And then if that wasn't bad enough, you're also periodically you hear something, you just kind of hear a voice, this weird slithery voice, the S is drawn out. And when you look around, Hamill's running through your feet, and it doesn't sound like Hamill, but it's there in your head, and it's just sort of constantly every maybe 2 or 3 hours. The closer you get to the habitat, the quieter that voice becomes and more distant it seems. But immediately by the helicopter, it was louder, and then as you further got away from the helicopter, it kind of quieted down. Maybe it's just home sweet home. Eventually, the 2 of you make it back. And the next week within the habitat is a little stressful and anxious for many in the Badger tribe, because the patrols increase and you can see every hour of the day, you can see at least a handful of drones flying around, some of whom getting quite bold, swooping very low until they're only maybe about 5 or 6 yards off the ground, looking and peering into the various burrows that the Badger tribe has set up out inside. One or two swoop into the windows of the giant concrete building where some of the Martins live, and kind of go through the hallways there, and you can see that many of the hunting packs, the hunters of the tribe who usually go out and collect food, have started to report constant surveillance by the drones themselves, to the point where anytime that they've shown aggression towards wildlife, the drones have aggressed back, and it's just sort of like they have to start pulling back. And so the only types of food that they seem to be bringing back are these like little grubs and bugs and stuff like that, and people are getting hungry and angrier as the supplies are starting to dwindle, as there's like kind of no fresh meat, no fresh kills. Okay, so we'll come back. Then we'll switch over to the reptile tribe. Returning back to the terrarium isn't too difficult, but you do on the way there, Tchaikovsky, you run into Ringo, who is kind of returning, he says, from a trading mission back to the lodge. And the two of you kind of travel together. He seems to have forgotten or forgiven whatever transgressions have passed, and he seems genuinely happy to see you and that you're still alive. And as you're passing over the river, because you guys have to cross over the river in some way to get over to the terrarium, news starts to come in of what happened at the ape tribe, as there are some apes that try to just run away and swim away, and that are kind of slowly coming back. And so you're hearing tales of like this horrible sentinel squad coming in, pulling gorillas and chimpanzees out of the trees and things like that. But one thing you do hear for certainty is a sudden appreciation for Boar 21, who has stepped up and is leading and organizing the ape tribe once more, and kind of quelling the fears and the anxiety. And if not for him, like, things would kind of fall apart. So it appears that Boar did manage to get through the raid. When you get back to the conclave, when you get back to the reptilian terrarium at Tchaikovsky, and you start asking around, catching up on the news, there's some scuttlebutt that's starting to happen over the next few days, as apparently there was a bit of a reptile on reptile violence, which is not particularly approved of, as there were four members of the reptile tribe at a local bar, let's say, who were apparently poking around and talking something about the resistance. And from what you can gather, they were kind of anti-Watcher propaganda, and they were pro-resistance propaganda. And I guess they just talked to the wrong people, or went to the wrong bar. And there was an arrest made of a toad, a lizard, a turtle, and something else. I can't remember. Frog, toad, turtle, lizard. And apparently sometime within the next couple of days, there's going to be a conclave where all of the different elders from the various packs within the reptile tribe are going to hold some kind of trial to determine their guilt or innocence. Okay.
That was against the one. The conclave is for the ones that destroyed the cell, or for the people. That's how the cell's going to be.
There's talk that anti-Watcher rhetoric, and that they were speaking negatively about the Watchers, and they were apparently, this is the charge is treason. They're traitors to the kind and benevolent overlords that are the Watchers, who provide you all with everything you need.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So then, with all that in mind, we'll cycle back, and I'll just talk about other things that you guys want to do. I'll come back to Ashley, and then the rest of you will pop back whenever you're ready. Ashley, I'm not even going to let you do what you want to do, because about a week and a half after you've been back, you get a knock on your door.
I think I know what this is.
And when you open the door, you see a lynx with this kind of dirty, yellowish, tannish colored fur, kind of wild and crazy. And you see like really big eyes as they kind of open up, but they're holding like a hat in their hand. This almost like a fedora, or like an old cap from like the 1920s, something like that. And they say to you, you are Miss Helena, yes? Yes.
Yes.
I was wondering if I could speak with you about he looks around kind of carefully, about a very sensitive matter.
Sure, please come inside.
I would prefer not to come inside. That is, could you perhaps come with me to a more neutral location?
Sure.
And why don't you go ahead and roll a no nature with +2 modification.
Okay. All right, one pass, one.
Okay, you know that this, you know who this is. This is a person by the name of Secundus, and
how do you spell that? What?
It's that, however you want, and you know that they are a friend of Cicero. That they apparently kind of ran together. The Cicero being the cat that you murdered a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
And so they look at you and they're like, could you perhaps come to a more neutral location? I have heard rumors that not everyone who walks into your home walks out.
Just because one man comes for me for medical attention and then suddenly he, it's a little stronger than I have.
That is fair, but we have buildings and locations where we are patching our wounded.
In my building is one of them?
No, it is not. And he kind of points over, and there's a triage center, and it's like you probably helped people in your home before, but the cats and the rats are constantly at war, and there's constantly people coming in and so there's like a whole little nursing station like on one side of the village.
Yeah.
If you want, then I suppose we can do it here on your doorstep. I have heard rumors, let's say, that you might be able to help me locate a missing friend of mine. Perhaps you'll know him. In fact, I know you know him. His name is Cicero. And some weeks back, he suddenly stopped coming to our poker games. This is very peculiar because he very much likes poker.
Yes.
Now, no one has seen him. I have spoken with your sister, and she claims that he was out hunting. But I can tell you with great certainty, Cicero has never hunted anything in his life. So.
No, and I agree. Cicero's definitely not the type of man.
Yes, you agree then that it is suspicious that his disappearance is suspicious.
I mean, he does tend to go to the woods and get drunk, and I did give him some more alcohol than normal.
He does get drunk, but he does so in very good company. He is not one to leave. He does not prefer to leave the village. He is a very mamby-pamby, I believe is the human phrase, and I do not think he could survive very long outside in the wild. He stays within the confines of the village, ma'am.
I might have to look for him then, because I did kind of tease him that perhaps I was more manly than he was because I could leave the village more often.
So what you're telling me is perhaps you have goaded him into doing something beyond his normal routine. And that
Well, I
then
didn't
is the
believe he would normally do it, but he didn't seem to be leaving the village, but
So the last
You-
time you saw him, he was leaving the village.
you know how Cicero gets around me.
So the last time you saw him was when he was leaving the village.
Yes.
You sure you did not see him on a different time, perhaps?
No, we had tea, and then,
And approximately, how long would you say he stayed at your place when you were having tea with him?
a few hours. It was very bizarre. He gave me a few compliments, and normally Cicero does not compliment me.
You see him, like his eyes just start to twitch.
Normally we just argue. We did argue, though, too. But, the typical, he was talking about my sister. And then, he said maybe I could be village elder, which would be, I've considered it, but I prefer healing.
He starts to put his hat back on. Yes, Cicero was very fond of you. Which,
Will you please tell me if you see him?
oh, believe me, I will keep you apprised of my investigation. And he starts to step away, but then he does the cop thing, right? Where he's just like, one more question, actually, before I leave. It's interesting. And he flips open like a steno pad. He starts going through it. And it's just like smudge. I think he just watched too many episodes of Law and Order.
Yeah.
I believe I think the term is canvassed. I've canvassed around the area, and many witnesses recall seeing Cicero come into your home. But none of them remember seeing him leave.
Do I really have to tell you that I slept with Cicero? Is that necessary?
And he gets a little bashful, like,
He stayed for a few more than just a few hours. We didn't really want people to know about the sexual tension. Can we keep that off the record? Just between us?
he's thinking about it. Go ahead. Let's see. What's a lie? What can we do for a lie? I mean, we could just make it a dominate check, I guess. And
Sneak, because she's trying to sneak the truth away.
I think that's agility, though. Let's do
That is
let's
agility.
just do dominate. Just make it dominate sense, because I think that's the all-purpose thing.
I now have Columbo in my head, and so like imagining like
That's
Columbo.
the
Columbo,
idea.
Peter Falk
I
comboed with
super
the like, oh, we were
succeeded.
having sex, and I'm just imagining the like awkwardness there.
All right, let me roll Okay, I failed my sense emotion, and so he says, "Oh, I did not realize. Well, thank you for your time. I will keep you apprised of the investigation.
Thank you.
Rest-
You know how when you get in your heats and, just sometimes you can't handle it.
Rest assured, I will not rest until I find what happened to him. And I know, since you seem to be romantically involved, that you would not want me to. Goodbye." And he turns around and starts going the other way. Okay.
I'm going to hell.
Okay. Who else wants to do? Has anyone got an idea of what they want to do in their little habitat areas? I got some ideas too. If you're struggling.
So there's a couple things that Hamill wants to do.
Okay.
So a little bit meta. I had a couple of things in my initial creation of my character that sort of went out the window in terms of
Yeah.
NPCs that I'm supposed to protect in Big Dream.
You could have saved him. You could have said
So-
you could have done a Katniss evergreen and said, "No, I volunteer as tribute," and you could have gotten taken. And then
Could have, didn't. So now I
Coward.
have a new NPC to try to protect in
Okay.
Big Dream.
So, what is the name of the next doomed NPC?
So my so the littlest Weasel in my pack is Oh, I just had the name of the knife.
Wiley
blanked on it.
92, I believe.
Yes. That is in fact. So basically, I'm going to check in on Wiley and see how he's doing.
So when you go looking for him, people kind of point you in the direction of Chelios's hunting pack in their little area of the Warren, and you can see that if you remember the old Warner Bros. Cartoons where there's like the one really big dog and then there's the one little tiny dog that was just like, "What you do today, boss? That's basically what's happening. Where Chelios is the big one and like Wiley's the little guy, and like Chelios is just like kicking him away, doesn't really care about him. But Wiley still kind of goes up and it's just sort of like trying to be part of the group.
Are you talking about Spike and Tyke?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. So while you're there, kind of looking, you can see that Chelios and his pack have returned with these huge flanks and furs that you would probably recognize as being from Shambletusks, which are a common kind of hunting. This is, those who eat meat and those who need animal furs for various other things. Not an uncommon thing to hunt. And this is the first kind of time in the last 2 weeks or so since you've been back where anybody has returned with such a huge bounty, and it's becoming a somewhat of a celebration as they're like conquering heroes, like walking through the tunnels with this big thing on the back, and doom, doom, and then like Wiley's like, "Oh, you're so great, boss! You're so great," stuff like that. I don't know, whatever. And so everyone's kind of here, hailing the conquering heroes, and they kind of just push past you. They don't even see you. And you kind of get like knocked off to the side, stumble.
Of course.
Okay.
So I'll try to see if I can kind of pull Wiley aside.
Okay. What? Wait, quick! I want to follow. Go. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good.
Are you okay?
Good. And it's like constantly in that whole leaning out of the conversation because they want to leave type of thing, and you're slowing them down. Yeah. What?
Just wanted to make sure that is Chelios taking good care of you? Is he being nice to you?
Oh, he's the best. The best. Chelios is the best. Yeah, he's greatest.
Of course he is. We all think Chelios is the best.
They say he's going to be an elder. An elder.
Yep.
Soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good for him.
The elders named him Apex Hunter. Look at all the stuff he brought. I feel like I'm doing the exact same voice I just did for Secundus, but whatever. It's like the only one I got. It's also like Ringo. It's a little like Ringo as well. I could do this. I don't know. Whatever. I give up. I'm not a voice actor. So he mentions that Chelios has been named Apex Hunter by the elders and the alphas, and that this is going to this is like a major, like there's only ever one. Like there's all these different hunters. And this is the only one, and he has been named it, and he's just like this big, attractive, brawling man. It's just moving through, and yeah, that's the news. That's
and
the skinny.
This is why Hamill hates him.
Jealousy is an ugly emotion.
Well, as long as he's taking good care of you,
yep, taking great care of me.
Okay.
And he bolts, and he goes up. He's like, "Hey, boss! Hey, boss!" And then he just gets kicked off to the side, stumbling in the mud. And gets back up. Oh, that's a good one. And he comes chasing after him again. Okay. All right. Who else wants to do something?
I can continue off the Badger tribe.
Go for it. What you thinking?
So I've noticed a lot of the other hunting tribes, come back with almost nothing.
Right.
Complaining about the Watchers, almost sabotaging their hunts. And yet every day we see Chelios and his gang come back with more and more and more. Bigger hunts, bigger games, bigger pelts, and I'm kind of gonna initiate with him and ask him how his hunts have been going.
So when you find him, you see him sitting much like a king, like at these different set up like milk crates and stuff like that have been positioned, and he's just sort of sitting there, and there's different folks around that are gonna bring in whatever he wants and everything, and he's just leaning back. They've been going great, as you can see. They named me Apex Hunter.
Still not much of a fighter, though, are you?
Well, you might be able to win in a little duel, but I have never seen you face down a whole pack of Shambletusks big ivory coming out of their mouths, ready to gore you, coming out of the heavy grass. Some of
the other hunters say that you're not the only one that's taken on these shambletoks. Some say that you have a little bit of help from the people up north.
The people up north? What are you talking about?
Some nice and shiny people.
What? What do you mean, nice and shiny people? And he kind of stands up, like really irritated, gets in your face. What do you mean?
I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying there's a lot of talk going around that you may be collaborating with the Watchers, and now that you're bragging about this elder position, it gets me thinking that maybe the Watchers are helping out some of the other elders in the tribes as well.
You better walk away, Cujo. You're gonna see just how good I can fight. And you see, like, his pack starts to step up as well. Like, he's got like all of the the sycophants around him are starting to be like, they're protecting him, stuff like that. But people behind you are kind of whispering, "Wait, is this true? Is this Chelios a collaborator?" Blah, blah. And so he's just stepping up, puffing out his chest. What do you do?
All I'm saying is we all have a common enemy here, and if we find out that you're assisting them, then things might not look out best for you. I have no reason to start conflict with you now, but know that the Badgers are your family and the Watchers are not, and choose your next actions very carefully.
Who's been feeding the family? I have. Don't tell me about family. Who's been getting the furs ready for winter? I have. I take care of this family. All of it.
We have many, many Badgers out there that are starving. Sure, your hunting tribe gets first pick, the most choice meats. You guys grow bigger while the poor get poor, and the hungry continue to be hungry. We have young, we have sick that continue to go without food. We have Gretzky, who owns a shop, who has not sold anything for years. One of our tribe elders, one of the last remaining honest, true tribe elders, and you guys seem to not even respect him.
From what I hear, he won't be elder much longer. He's been keeping my seat warm. And he stands up and he kind of walks back, and he picks up this like crappy piece of food. It like just looks all ratty. And Gretzky's hungry. And he throws that at your face. Give him this to munch on.
I'm just going to mutter that everyone soon will get their just desserts and then just kind of start to walk away.
You want to... And then you walk away. Okay. All right. Okay. Elsewhere. Who wants to do something? One of these days. I think it is going to be a fight at some point.
If Hamill was anywhere near that, Hamill was eating that up. Her hatred of Chelios. Enjoy that
why
very
not?
much.
Why not? Okay. McCloud, Tchaikovsky, you guys want to do anything? In your habitats?
In my habitats, I'll see what the overall, or like how the overall tribe is doing. What's the current situation of it?
Great. Everyone's happy, healthy. No watcher activity in the habitat. Everyone seems to be pretty content. There's the usual grumblings among some of the non-initiated wolves and foxes who haven't yet made it into O'Donnell's good graces as lodge guards or anything like that. Foxes tend to be a little bit lower on the totem pole, a little bit more scroungers, so to speak. Trade seems to be pretty good as well. But yeah, there's no real complaints. I would say that you probably start hearing, as you're wandering around the marketplace, you're hearing a variety of people here and there kind of muttering a little bit, like very occasionally, you overhear things. And I heard there's a better place. Yeah, maybe there's a better place. Like as the word of your sermons are beginning to ever so slightly start to echo back to you. It's like you're getting a handful of Twitch followers and you might hit affiliate soon or something. Yeah. Something like that's going on.
Also checking on Slippy.
Okay.
See how that guy's doing.
So when you check in on Slippy 18, you can see that he has he seems to have tried to put together. He's got the same kind of what are you wearing? What's your robe? Like you have like a robe or something, right?
I have a puffy green jacket.
Okay.
One of those, like, yeah.
Yeah, so like he's kind of got his own puffy jacket, but it's not green. It's like a different color, but you can see he's probably rubbed some grass on it to try to get it to be green. And you can see that like he's got on his head, he's got what looks to be a pair of like underwear, human underwear, as like covering the top of his head, and connected to it there's a bunch of what look to be like number 2 pencils that have been put in a way to kind of create its own little spinny. And every now and then he tries to spin it, and he's just trying to be like you, and he's trying to foster your message. And you see him trying to come up and talk to people from time to time, spreading the message of McCloud, his vision. And he's like getting swatted away, and people are like stepping over him. But he's trying. He's trying.
Slippy, this is a new look for you.
Yeah, you like it?
It's uncanny.
It is uncanny. I don't know what it means. What's it mean? I don't even know. Is that good? Is uncanny good?
Yeah, you're doing great out there, Slippy.
I got it, boss.
Yeah.
This dude's like older than you, probably. I would imagine, because you're like 16, right? I don't know.
He's actually a childhood friend, so we're about the same age.
Okay, so you're about the same age.
Yeah.
Like, well, I got you. I got you. You go out on your adventures, and well, I'm not gonna ask what you're doing. It's not important. Not my business. But when you're gone, I got you. So keep spreading the word. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing great, Slippy. One day I'll tell you more about what's going on.
And so you see him, because he's like climbed atop of what looks to be like an old oven, and he's trying to talk. He's like, and watch this, boss. I got this. Tell me how I do. Little bit of peer feedback, baby. So stands up on top of this oven, and the skies opened, and McCloud, oh he of greatness, opened his eyes unto the horizon, and there he saweth a great horizon of greatness, and there were buildings and food. There was so much food on their eyes, and people are like throwing things at him, like, "Shut up, you stupid idiot! What are you wearing on your head?" You know.
Yeah, that's right, Slippy. It sounds great. Maybe we'll work on it a little bit more.
Well, let me bring it home. This is the next one, good. And if you believe as we believe, then you should. And then someone, like this big hulking, looks like a lodge guard, just comes over and just kicks the side of the oven, and like you can see, he just goes sprawling onto the ground, and he slams on the ground, and he's like rolling around, and
I'll go by and help him up. All right, Slippy. I think that's enough.
Okay. And as you kind of help him up, dust him off, the lodge guard like walks past you and just does that classic shoulder into you as you pass.
All right, come on. You know Slippy's a little slow here. He's trying to find his place.
And they turn around and they just backhand you. He's not the only one who needs to find his place. You better watch your mouths. O'Donnell will hear about this.
You should go ahead and tell O'Donnell.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think I will. And you see them turn around and start heading towards the lodge building, where O'Donnell is up. And as the crowd that was beginning to form starts to disperse, and there's people muttering, you catch like sight of a fox, this kind of bluish gray furred fox, and she kind of is staring at you and Wiley, kind of considering, head kind of tilted off to the side, and then she turns away and disappears into the crowd. Okay. All right, Tchaikovsky.
Yeah.
Anything you're doing specifically?
Yeah. So I guess I would talk with Ringo about exactly what happened to cause that trial for the treason, and just what's been going on since I've been away for the month. Yeah.
Ringo also away, but was asking questions over the past few days and have heard, unfortunately, that our friends, let's say, that were once affiliated with a certain chopper, were being too brazen in what they were supposed to do. And apparently they angered some very, shall we say, I don't even know the word, angry folk. And yes, they need to be a little bit more subtle, you know.
So what does this mean going forward for us?
Well, we will have to see how trial goes down. Hopefully we can find some way to ensure their safe recovery. But you and me as friends, we just go about our business and keep our lips, not that we have them, shut.
This all seems so backwards to me. Why are people so sympathetic to the other side, to their shiny idols?
Well, it is what they have known. Their whole lives. They have been told big, strong, and they are very big and strong. If they were to show up here and really wanted to obliterate us, they very easily could obliterate us. Could they not?
I guess.
So some it is fear, and others it is they get favors. The Watchers can. Everyone says that the dogs get all favors, and we look at the dog tribe, and they are the fattest and the healthiest, and if you are loyal, then you get rewarded. If you are disloyal, just look at the rabbit tribe. Did you hear they were, horrible things, horrible news. Many more rabbits have died. 2 months running now. If only they were a bit more subtle about their resistance, perhaps they would not be constantly raided and massacred by our shiny friends. I mean, our shiny enemies.
Exactly the point, though, is if people are hearing about all these raids and all this massacre, why are they still idolizing them? I don't understand it.
That is a very complicated question. I am not good with psychology other than marketing and advertisement in basic economics.
And after my conversation with Ringo, I think since I still have the wagon, but because many of the items floated away while we were escaping the Watchers, I'll try to either barter or find some kind of net cover that I can put over the top of it to hold all the items securely.
Okay, so if you're just kind of looking around and seeing if you can find something, go ahead. You can go ahead and just make a scavenge check, and we'll say you're extending the scavenging to the area around the terrarium. Maybe see if you can find something or trade something. So scavenge check is fine. You're at home, your home base, so take +2 mod.
Okie doke. Ooh. Just typed a 7 somewhere. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, don't forget the new way it'll pop up and it'll ask for base dice first, and then
Yeah.
You're able to find basically a plastic canvas. Something that you would put on the back of a truck or something to protect from water. So you get something like that. It's waterproof. It should certainly help you.
With that roll, is it possible? Because I've gone the past couple of sessions without a weapon because my sling broke in, I think, the first session or second session. So I'd be able to find a sling too, or would I need to make a separate roll for that?
You'll probably make a separate roll since it's two different things. Right. With the 2 successes, don't forget that when you scavenge for something, if it's just a regular success, it's just a success. But
one-time use.
But with 2 successes, that canvas is now higher quality. So now you can roll a second scavenge to try to find a weapon. Same thing, +2 mod. You're in your home base.
Cool. Hey.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. It is a frustrating week. No one's really in the mood to trade as there's this long all sorts of stress going on where there's people sniping back at one another about what's going down. And even though there are many that are certainly Watcher supporters, or at least fearful of them, reptile the reptile tribe's got a decent population of people who are not just buying hook, line, and sinker the Watcher's kind of line of thinking. So you do manage to get something, but it's just a pain in the ass. It's just a rough week, and people kind of distracting you.
Okay. Hamill, real quick. The bonus on a sling is 1, correct?
I believe so. I'll double check.
Check the conflict primer. It has the chart with all the weapons on it.
Oh, that's right.
So then while you're kind of going around, the conclave meets, and they have this huge kind of ornate trial, and you can see like there's the one toad alpha, the one lizard alpha, the one frog alpha, turtle alpha, etc. And they're all kind of sitting there and listening as this crew, this cell that you don't know specifically. Truffaut likes to keep many of his operatives separate from one another, but you know that they are probably part of they are probably the resistance cell that is operating in the reptiles. They kind of go through this long song and dance over the course of an hour. Witnesses are called. There's all sorts of people who are bad mouthing this, bad mouthing that, in like the area outside of it, and then eventually there's a deliberation where the alphas all retreat for the night into their own separate tents to the east, and the accused are kind of bound and guarded in a specific building. However, during the night, there's a lot of commotion that wakes you up. Maybe you're hanging out with Serge or whatever it might be, but you hear all sorts of commotion. When you look outside or up in the air, you can see lights in the sky. You can see, you can hear all sorts of screaming, and it appears as though there's some kind of something going on back at the terrarium. You think, I mean, or you might be being raided, or the Watcher presence might be, but there's like people are screaming and there's lights in the sky. Do you do anything?
Yeah, you said I'm at home doing this, right?
Yeah, we'll say you're at home somewhere in the.
I guess I'll just I'll climb up to like the top of my tent using like the center pole or whatever, like to climb up and just get a better vantage point or look to see if I can see anything better.
Okay, so you can see, like when you look out, that there's a fire has broken out in the central area where the conclave was meeting, where there's a couple of ramshackle homes and buildings, like their own kind of mini lodge market, in a way, kind of a central meeting area. Seems like there's fires.
Okay, I would grab a bucket from in the tent and try to help put out the fire. And so I would run in the direction of it.
Sure. And so you're running, and there's a blaze, and there's people who are doing very much the same thing you are. You see some of the people and it takes a little time, but like with various with various folks working on this, eventually the fires are put out. Right as the sun's kind of coming up in the morning, and when that happens, people start to take stock of things, and they notice that the building where the cell was being held was one of the buildings that seems to that was not touched by fire. But when you go up and others kind of go up, the rumor is that they're missing. That the resistance cell that was being tried is not. Someone broke into the jail, or say they escaped or something like that, but they have disappeared.
Okay, yeah. So then I would try and learn more about the story and see what the other reptiles in the tribe are thinking. If this was like a plot or a setup by the resistance prisoners or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, you start asking around, and there's different rumors and such here and there, but there's a couple prevailing theories. One theory is that they killed the guards and escaped themselves, but that theory is quickly defeated when a couple of the guards show up and they're like, no, we're fine, or something happened on rotation. Others claim that they were kind of freed, that the alphas kind of let them go in the night, but then the alphas show up, and they completely dispute that. And then a lot of folks think that the lights in the sky were the Watchers, and that the Watchers somehow took them. And so that seems to be the theory that holds most sway at this point.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So unless anybody has anything else that they're looking to do, a couple weeks have passed in your various habitats, and you meet back at your allotted times at the chopper. Helena, you start heading back down the mountain, and you're having the same issue as you do when you're climbing back up it, and that these damn watchers just won't leave. Do you try to navigate around, or do you again go through that checkpoint? They have not yet abated. These roadblocks are still up.
I think she'll go through the checkpoint again.
1 minute.
Okay. And once again, they say like the same basic thing happens, is that you're stopped. The spotlight is shined on you. Various robotic voices say, "Identify self. Hold still. This won't take more than a moment." And they start going through your things again. And since you don't have any artifacts, they after about 10 minutes, you're free to go. And you continue on your way. The rest of you, mostly fine. Tchaikovsky, McCloud, no issues. Ringo comes with you, Tchaikovsky, and two of you probably just talk shop along the way.
Is it possible to replenish like grub and water along this time?
Yeah, you're at home, so go ahead and roll a D6 for food and a D6 for water, and that's how much you could say you take with you.
All of us?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Can I try to hunt, or can
Yeah,
I,
you can
given
try
what
to
you said
hunt.
earlier, I wouldn't be
You
successful.
can absolutely try to hunt, but it's going to be at a negative mod.
Okay.
Okay. Look at McCloud with his 2D. Look at this.
Dang.
Crushing it. If you're wanting to hunt, if you're actually wanting to do a -3 modification to your roll, Hamill. As the patrols are quite insistent, constantly getting in your way. And any time you've noticed a person tries to do anything suspicious, they try to hide from the drones, or if they try to run away from the drones, that's when the drones become more invasive. And they start getting down in your face. They start kind of doing the same thing they did to Helena, like checking, investigating even further. But if you try to just go about your normal business, you're usually okay. But hunting, any signs of aggression, even though they're misinterpreting aggression towards like the animals as aggression towards themselves, it's still pretty bad. So go ahead and roll your hunt check.
I did. It's thinking.
Okay. So all of you eventually make it back to Truffaut's at the chopper. And Ringo is there. Wildpaw is also there. And when you try to enter in the chopper, Wildpaw interrupts you before you can go inside and says,
He's meeting with another group. Hold a moment.
And as you're listening, you can hear like shouts. There's like a lot of anger, like this roar of this bear. And there's a lot of echoing that is kind of cascading through the chopper. And after a few moments, you can see, you're probably there for maybe 10-15 minutes, and then a group of beaten and battered rabbits step out of the chopper. And there's about 5 of them, and you can see that they've been through some shit. So they've got bandages on, they're bleeding.
Can I heal?
It looks like they have been addressed. So like they have bandages like on their heads. It's just like they're just recovering at this point. But
Okay.
and they look at you and they do like a quick, professional nod. But you can see that they're all a little shaken, a little like they've just been dressed down by the principal or by their superior officer or something like that. And they eventually leave. And Wildpaw says to you,
There was a bit of a problem with we sent them into the ape tribe to maybe disrupt some of the watcher-friendly powers. They were targeting Boar and a few of the other known water lovers, but it didn't go well. And there's even worse news, but
I'll let Truffaut tell you. So did you push? Is that what happened, Melissa?
Yes, I pushed.
Okay. So go ahead. You get 2 successes, so you can go ahead and roll your d6s. I think it's 2 d6s, and then do you get an extra d6 for the extra success? What's the stunt you can do on Hunt?
So Hunt is. Sorry, I haven't looked at that in a bit. It's for prey. It's not for.
Okay.
For food, I don't think.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you go inside, kind of settle around, and you can see Truffaut is in a great deal. He's super angry. He has broken the bookcase on which McCloud has frequently climbed on top of and done a handstand. Like, stuff is all scattered all over the place. The table on which you had planned this month's missions just a few weeks ago has been upturned and turned over, and he's just kind of leaning against the wall. You hear him breathing heavily, and occasionally he just punches the wall of the helicopter. And you just, come in.
Hey, it's been a while. What seems to happen to the group outside?
They failed, is what's happened.
Someone's phone going off. Zzz, what was that?
They failed. It's been a downright travesty, one of those two, god damn it, in the ape tribe.
Yeah, we were just there. We only saw the last bits of it.
Well, we finally gotten some accurate reporting of what happened after the raid. The Sentinels have Largo. They took her, and they took some of her guerrillas. The best ally we had in the whole damn islands is gone, taken.
And he just, again, punches the wall out of, like, great anger. And then he turns around, sits, gets out, like, a cigar, starts smoking it.
You call her an ally, but it almost seems like she set us up.
She didn't set you up. It's that...
Good.
She sent us to a slaughter. We barely made it out of there alive.
She didn't send you to the slaughter. She was testing you, and she was testing Boar. From what I learned, no one quite knew where he stood. And she forced his hand. And now we know. And if those damn rabbits were any better at their job, we would have had him taken out too.
He's kind of leans back, all pissed. He gets out his revolver, starts doing the classic empty it out, break it down, going through his mantra.
Helena's
breathing.
gonna, like, in her bag, she has, like, the remaining 3 bottles of alcohol, and she's gonna pull out 2 and just hand him both.
He takes one and just takes the first out, just chugs the first one, and then he opens the second one, and he grabs his, like, broken glasses and his, like, old Solo red cups and stuff and starts pouring them out and dishing them out to everybody.
And if that's not bad enough, I hear we don't have a cell in the reptile tribe anymore.
And he looks over at Tchaikovsky and Ringo, and Ringo's like,
Not me! Didn't do it. I wasn't even there at the time. Don't even know what happened. He did it.
and he points over at Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky's just gonna roll his eyes and be like, I was in the ape tribe, you moron.
Right. We didn't do it. Not us.
And Truffaut's just like,
Is it so hard to find competent help? Anyway.
Hamill's gonna, like, offer up some meat from her hunt to go along with the alcohol that was provided by Helena.
and he looks at it. All right. He starts eating, and you can see he's starting to calm down.
We need to replenish our numbers. I've heard, despite all the patrols, we're getting some support in the Badger tribe. I'm not sure the population can withstand themselves. We're balancing on a knife's edge there. But at least...
I have a strong suspicion about one of the members of the Badger tribe may be in cahoots with the Watchers.
Do you now? Which one?
Yeah. His name is Chelios. He's the lead hunter of the tribe. Most hunters, almost all hunters of our tribe come back with 9-0. They say the Watchers are heavily influencing their hunts and preventing them from gathering any supplies, and yet Chelios comes back day after day with more and more and more. And it's shown that he may be getting a spot in the tribe elder position. He may have a lot of influence on the Badger tribe very soon.
And he's an asshole. He doesn't deserve it.
I think you might be owned to something. We'll have to investigate this further. In due time. First, we have to get more capable agents. Helena, the cats, how goeth the war with the rats? Is there any sign of peace?
There's
not
not.
as much as we would prefer. Trying to unite them against the Watchers has been a difficult front.
You cats are just as bull-headed as the stupid rats. Age-old conflicts that don't matter anymore.
The younger ones are more interested in ceasing it, but it's the elders who are loaded in tradition.
Well, we're gonna put that to the test now, aren't we? You're going back home. You're going to see if you can find some capable, competent agents that could serve our bidding. Bring them into the cause. And do a damn sight better job than them frickin' toads.
We do have quite a bit of Watcher roadblock activity.
Be careful. The more they linger, the easier it is for things to go awry.
And Helena will kind of turn her eyes towards the rest of the group. Unless there's some sort of items that you really desperately need, I recommend perhaps leaving some of it here.
The travel light. I don't have other stuff on me.
I'll leave
And
the
she's-
megaphone since that's the only artifact I currently
referencing
have.
artifacts.
Okay.
Did you pick anything up from your house that you thought would have been helpful last time you were out?
Grenade still on the couch. Video camera also still on the couch.
Okay.
Damn it.
Okay. So, Truffaut mentions that the cat tribe is a very hard one to get a read on because they're so isolationist. They have a tendency to keep to themselves. And this long war with the rats has certainly not helped. They don't have a ton of allies the way that some of the other tribes do. And perhaps that can be used to your advantage. So he doesn't have an active agent the way he did in other tribes. And he just said you're going to have to rely on Helena to help guide you and the who to talk to, who not to talk to, etc. And then at that, he says, be careful and don't get yourselves dead.
We'll sure try.
All right. So then you guys pack your things up that you're bringing with you, and you start heading back up to the cabin village. Most of the way there is fine until you get to, once again, those damn roadblocks. And Helena, like you said, was able to explain to you that they seemed to were scanning her equipment a lot, but they weren't doing that to everybody. And they seemed to be more almost random in what they were doing. Some people were getting dragged into the brush, and who knows what happened to them. Others weren't even being stopped. So you have an option. You can either try to just go right through the roadblocks like normal, and deal with whatever kind of checkpoint that you have to deal with, or you can try to circumvent and climb up the mountain a different way.
Considering Helena has been in and out multiple times, she'll probably say, I've already checked out, so I need to check back in. So I'll be going this way. But before she does that, she wants to, I guess, spend some time finding some herbs and stuff to make it seem like she actually was
Okay.
productive.
Okay. That's fine. Go ahead and... So if you take some time doing that over by... You know that the helicopter is probably not the best place to do it, but along the way, I'm sure you can find something a little bit more suitable. So roll like a no nature just to sort of find the good stuff along the way. +2 mods since you've now done this travel 3 times now in the past couple weeks.
2 successes.
Yeah.
Nice.
You go ahead and roll 2d6s, and you can take that many, kind of that many. So you get like 10 various herbs and ingredients that you could perhaps use later to brew some pots and things. Okay. So are you going through the checkpoint, or are you going around the checkpoint? Or the roadblock, I should say.
Helena goes through the checkpoint.
Rest of you.
How much extra time would it be to go around or find our own way?
Depends on some rolls. The time and the danger that you encounter on the roll will certainly... we'll have to roll some things.
Is it a no nature check?
You can roll... I mean... You can roll no nature to basically figure out like their intentions to some degree, but to try to, I would probably want to move check since you're going to be climbing, so I would probably ask for that.
Well, I'm down to take not the roadblock because I have a tail and I can use that for climbing.
Hamill agrees.
Okay.
Yeah, we should avoid going through these checkpoints and then knowing we're together all the time.
Okay. All right. So Helena, you go through, and do you guys linger and watch her, make sure she gets through okay, or do you kind of split off? And
I think she'll be fine. We should just split off.
Yeah.
okay.
This is when I get abducted.
This would be when. Do you want to make sure she's okay? Nah.
Hey, she got through 2 times before, no problem. So Chai's like,
never see Helena again.
I've rolled the same result 3 consecutive times. Actually, it's actually one of the easiest ones. Like, there's one that's better than this. There's like 6 different things that could happen, and this is like the second nicest thing that can happen. You're once again searched. They're looking artifacts, but you managed to get through, and you're much faster. I want the rest of you to go ahead and roll move checks, and I want it at a -2 modification.
so if I use my tail power for jump, climb, or any other acrobatic ability, every FP spent adds +1. So if I wanted to get rid of that -2, just get rid of 2 feral points.
Sure. Speaking of feral points, how many do you guys have? Call them out.
Well, I started with 4 and now I'm at 2.
10.
Don't forget you get +2 at the start of a
Oh,
session.
well then I'm at 4.
Plus how many animal powers you have.
Oh yeah, plus however many, because you only have 2 though. I think Derek only has 2.
Yeah, most people I think do. I think I'm the only one
You're
with
the
4.
you're the one who can't
Oh,
control
anyone with
himself.
more than 2.
All right, so what are the totals? Let's go around. Ashley, how many do you have?
I have 5.
Okay, Long
3.
3. Okay.
Yes.
Hamill.
So I started with 4 and I have 2 animal powers.
So you'll be
and
at
it's a new
6.
session.
So yeah,
Okay.
at the start of a new session, you get as many feral points as you have animal powers.
All right, then I have 6.
And Derek, would you say 4?
Yeah, I started at 4. Or I'm sorry, no, I started at 6. Now I'm down to 4.
Okay, so 6, and then 10 for Cujo. So that puts me. I have 30 feral points to work with. Yes,
Oh God.
it's okay.
Okay.
The campaign ramps, you know that. Like early on, it's not as crazy. It gets crazier. Okay, so let's take a look at these move rolls. We've got a fail from Hamill. We've got a success from Cujo. Fail from Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky, you pushed, and you.
This is bullshit. My tail is garbage.
2 points of fatigue for you, big boy.
Okay.
Hamill's going to push.
Okay. Go ahead and push if you like.
Oh, crap.
Oh no.
That's bad.
Sorry,
What is this?
What'd you roll? I didn't-
Actually, what talent is this?
This is move. You're doing move.
3.
3 points of fatigue.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So
I'm an idiot. Oh my god! I was looking at the dominance thing. It adds a +2. I should have had a fucking 4. I
okay, then
think.
just roll a couple extra d6s then, and we'll see how
Alright.
it goes.
Yeah, it would be
That's
2 extra d6.
No worries.
That didn't help anything.
Okay. All right. So the four of you disappear into the brush and begin moving up the kind of rocky, but also still periodically forested terrain of the foothills of this peak. The cabin is quite a ways up and isolated from most other habitats, and it is not a particularly great climb for you all, especially since you're probably not too familiar with the terrain. And at a certain point, when you're probably about halfway up, you can see that Hamill, especially, but also Tchaikovsky, are kind of wheezing. Maybe it's the elevation, like they've never been to Denver before, and whatever it might be, and they're just getting kind of exhausted. And you guys take a break and begin to kind of catch your breath. And that's when, as you're sitting around, maybe getting some water, eating, etc. That's when you hear like a whoosh, 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 and you see swooping out of the trees this eel with wings swoops down. And I want everyone to go ahead and roll.
I was waiting for
initiative.
this moment.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that 6, I went, oh no.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay.
What are we rolling?
Roll initiative.
Scout?
It is.
Or just initiative?
I'm not gonna make it as like it's not. They weren't like ambushing you. They were just literally just coming after you. So if you do this, you can, when you roll this now, make sure you can click your token. It'll automatically add it to the turn.
I'm gonna break my virtual dice. I'm rolling like garbage today.
I can't click my token.
It should be
Just zoom out.
Yeah, it should be on the map.
Yeah, I'm zoomed out. I just can't seem to click on it.
Oh yeah, I can't click anyone else's but mine.
You
But
should have control
I
of
don't know
your
if
own. Let me check. No, you should have. I'll roll it. Well, so that's fine. I'll roll
Okay,
it for
thanks.
you. All right. So initiative. All right, and then let me get my winged moray.
I'm gonna use another animal power. I'm gonna use fast reflexes, so my initiative's actually a 3.
There you go.
Remember every time you roll. Every time you use an animal power,
Oh
roll
yeah,
D6.
Derek needs to do.
Yep.
You already do your other D6, Derek.
Oh.
No, so I roll 3 total then.
Every 1
Actually,
point
too.
that you spend, you roll a D6.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, you're good.
Very consistent.
Of course.
Logan's an expert on.
Yep. I'm
And
very
then-
familiar with the system.
And then you go crazy and murder things, and then you're haunted by voices for the rest of your life.
Yeah, thanks for turning me into a bloodthirsty killer of innocent rabbits.
Just take
And
your
turtles.
Abilify. You won't hear the voices.
At least yours was.
I'm just gonna start drinking some Helena potions and forget about my past.
Okay.
I
So
could make you something.
let me get that up. I'm sorry, I'm just getting some windows adjusted here. I don't have a map for this, so we're just gonna do this the way it is. I rolled pretty shitty for my initiative, so
Good.
you, I would say, so let's see, Cujo and McCloud are the first to hear this swooping, and that sort of makes sense considering Hamill and Tchaikovsky are probably like heads between their like trying to breathe at this small little rest site, and you see swooping down this eel comes bursting out of the trees, and right now is short range, swooping down to you. Cujo and McCloud, what do you two want to do?
I'm going to measure enemy.
Okay.
Does that count as a maneuver? I can't ever remember.
Measure enemy is got to be like beforehand. It's got to be something that you do like when you're like because it's a whole minute you have to watch them.
Well, how am I supposed to know when you always just introduce these characters?
Sorry, man.
All right, then I am going to maneuver within striking distance, so close or whatever the closest range is.
They're flying over top, so you're like kind of you're kind of swinging at their belly as they swoop down from the sky.
All right, so maneuver within range, and then I am just going to attack.
Go for it.
No weapons, just using my
Okay.
teeth and fangs.
Yes.
That's two damage.
Okay. So 2 damage. I don't think this has armor. Actually, it might have armor. It might have natural armor. It does. So I got to roll 1d6 to see if I can block any. It's being very slow. So I'll just roll a regular d6. Nope, there it goes. Okay, so yeah, both pieces of damage go through onto this eel. And then McCloud, what would you like to do?
I'll maneuver and swing at it at the same time.
Okay. So you move up, and you're again, as it's swooping down, you're catching it like mid-flight.
I rolled it. I think it's just taking a bit.
Yeah, it happens. It's because of the the macros and stuff kind of slow it down sometimes. And then the moray will go next.
I thought at first you said winged eagle, and I thought, okay,
Eel.
eagles usually have wings, and then I was like, oh no, you said winged eel.
It's a winged eel.
Wait, Jeff, wouldn't I go before the moray since I have a 3? I have technically a 3 with the animal power that I used.
Oh, sorry. It didn't pop in. Yep. Sorry. It only showed up as 1 on here. Let me...
Long's attack work. Does that 1 or 2 damage, Long?
Let's see. Bonus +1 Seer staff. So does that mean it does 2 or?
Does 1 damage. Well, okay, so
Doesn't do any damage.
Yeah.
My armor. So +1. So like, just look at if you look at the thing, there's 2 things. There's weapon bonus and there's damage. And so weapon bonus is how many gear dice you add. And then the other one is how much damage it does. So how much?
Oh, let me add an extra gear then, because I didn't.
Okay, roll another d6.
Add that in.
This will be your gear dice. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that was a success with 1, but my armor check was good. I rolled a 6 on my armor, which takes away one of your successes, one of your damage
All right,
rolls. So
cool.
basically, nothing goes through. I have to roll. I only have 1 armor, and then you roll a d6, and if you get a 6 on that, then you kind of block it. So as you swing away with your staff, it's just got it's a surprisingly calloused underbelly, as if maybe it has to drag, because you don't see any legs. You're like looking at this thing, doesn't have any legs. So either it's got wings or it drags itself, and so yeah. All right, Tchaikovsky, what do you got?
So I have a question. In like a round of combat, is this the same as like D&D where it's like 6 seconds pass? I want to try something with like, here's what I'm thinking. I want to try to hold a piece of grub up in the air because I'm assuming this thing is just hungry or something.
Possibly.
And so I want to see if it reacts to that. I don't know if I have to wait for my next turn to witness that.
You might want to, why don't you roll a no nature check first? Because no nature checks can kind of give you some information, and you might be able to learn whether that would be a reasonable thing to assume.
Okay.
And so for the moray, it's a -1 modification.
Gotcha. All right, sent it. Should be going. Oh, I forgot to drop that down by 1. So
Okay.
I don't know which dice you want to remove, the first or last.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's good. It's successful. So these things are, you know a few things. These things are really peculiar mutated creatures. They're monsters, so to speak. They don't have a lot of like sentience. I mean, like they have basic, creature thoughts, but they're not particularly intelligent. You know that they are particularly interested in dead or dying creatures. And so likely the exhaustion being shown by Hamill and yourself is likely what has drawn them in. And while you might be able to hold up a piece of food, this thing's quite big, and a small ration is probably not going to satisfy it. You could certainly try, but that might only like delay it as opposed to get it to go away.
Gotcha.
You also know that they. I would say you also probably know that they are. Their bite carries a poison that can be very deadly.
All right, so I guess I'll scream to the group, like, try to look as healthy and vigorous as you can. These things sense weakness, and like I try to puff up my chest and like, get my sling going for an attack next round.
Suck it up, Hamill! Come on! All right. All right. Okay. You doing anything else?
No, I'll just be
Got your
readying
sling
my
ready.
sling for an attack.
Like
Okay.
we need a good like inspiring words or something here.
Okay, Hamill, you see this thing and you think it's got eyes for you. It's like swooping down in your direction.
It's
Okay.
because you're tiny and cute.
Mm-hmm.
And
we-
apparently I look like I'm dying. So there's
Did you take like 3 fatigue or something?
Yes.
Yeah. I chose whichever one of you took the most fatigue, and it was you. So
No, that was me. Okay, so I am going to spend 1 feral point for hunter instincts.
okay, roll a d6.
And then I'm going to sorry.
Just a regular d6 is fine. You don't have to do any of the special buttons in the character sheet.
I am. It's thinking.
Those things don't usually lag for me. It's usually the character sheet rolls that lag for me. Okay, and then
It
what?
says like rolling the dice.
Yeah, what do you want to do with your while it's thinking? You're good.
So so then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to spend another 2 feral points to add a +2 to my shoot, because I am going to be kind of like tracking this thing with my sling
Sure.
and trying to
I like it.
shoot at it.
2 more d6s though. If you're spending 2 more feral points.
All right, so do I do that first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Just roll. Don't roll 2 ones in a row. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it.
That's a 1. Okay.
So 1 more d6.
So now you got to roll a d6. Let me pull up this. Where is it?
I got a 3.
All right. So 3 means you temporarily lose your capacity for coherent logical thinking. This means you lose the ability to speak as outlined in 4 below, blah, 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 blah. You are compelled, or you are completely unable to use tools. You also lose the ability to use the skill comprehend, and the effect lasts d6 days.
By trying to buff your sling, you can't use it at all.
5 days.
5 days.
I'll let
I
you do
rolled
it.
a
I'll let you
D6.
do it. I never get the roll, so I try to roll. That's fine. I'll let you roll it. That's fair. We should start. That should be the rule. The person who is affecting takes it, so you it. Okay. And then
So my
can't be
so my
upset when
slingshot
you
does
get
not
picked.
go through.
so you can't form human words, and you can only communicate through primitive animal sounds. But you can still use all your skills except for comprehend. And then it says to simulate this effect, you as a player should also stop speaking, other than to describe the actions of your animal. So like literally don't talk like Hamill, but you can describe third person what Hamill is doing. Does that make sense?
So when you
Uh-huh.
are trying to talk, you should make really weird animal noises.
So if it says you can't use
I can't
tools,
use tools.
would we say the sling is a tool? I think so. I would say I think the idea is it's like it's like a lighter version of feral. Like you're not using
Yeah.
human things. Like you're not speaking human words. And you're not using human
Yeah.
inventions.
I was about to say, if
I feel like
anthropologists
we put-
consider
So I would
I don't know.
suddenly look at like the sling and the stone and not really know what they are. And
You're going to say, Logan.
I feel like tools fall under gear, and
Okay.
because weapons are kind of their own category, but I don't know.
We'll just do a D6. So
Let me see if I can find it.
yeah, look it up, and we'll make a quick ruling now. 4, 5,
I feel
6.
like that makes sense. You just like start using your hands and claws, sort of thing. Like you can't really use
Yeah.
weapons.
Roll D6, Melissa. 4, 5, 6. You can still use them. You can still use your sling. 1, 2, 3. You're not using weapons.
it's thinking.
Okay.
If you could change your fate,
If you could change your fate, would you?
What's that from again?
Brave.
Oh man.
If you could change your fate.
Oh my gosh.
it's gotten to the point where we don't say the
Slag's
whole
crazy.
thing anymore. You just
Basically, just yell at
Logan
each
does
other.
it pretty well.
Okay. So while that's
We'll
thinking,
just assume this turn is me.
this is
not
crazy. The
doing
lag is
much.
pretty nutty. Okay, so as you get kind of confused, so what is your feral point actually like? The 2 feral points you spend, they were supposed to do what exactly?
It's supposed to improve my roll and shoot. So it's supposed
Okay.
to be a +2 to my shoot roll.
Okay. You roll a 6. I'll say for this attack, this attack will go through, but after this, like you'll just be confused. So we'll let this one go through. And
Okay,
then
so
we'll go from there.
so +2 to shoot.
Oh,
no
no.
successes. So
Okay.
Push it.
You want to push?
Sure.
Push. Okay, push. Would you-
Wait, why don't you have a bonus from your sling
Yeah,
itself?
you didn't put in your gear dice, Melissa.
Oh, sorry. I'll roll a d6.
Okay.
Still not a success. So I pushed it and I got a no success and a negative.
And you take 1 more point of agility damage, or fatigue, I should say.
I'm just going to go a corner and drink a lot of water.
Well, this thing is going to swoop down at you, and it will go ahead and it will take a shot. Try to bite you. Let's see. Checking its fight. Everything's good. It's a good thing you did some damage to it already. It actually has pretty high strength. All right, so this thing's you see this thing swooping past all the others that are like swinging at it, almost like stepping in the way of Hamill, this tiny little thing, and it's going for Hamill. It's like if you're walking your dog when you're on you have a small dog and you're walking them like when you're on a camping trip. You got to be careful that an eagle doesn't, or not an eagle, like a hawk doesn't come down and swoop away with it. It's kind of like one of those things. It's bypassing the bigger things, going for the thing that it might be able to pick up and fly away with. And so here we go with the fight. No gear dice. Just gonna swing. Actually, let me double check. Yeah, the bite doesn't have any extra things to it. Okay, and then so as it's thinking, I'll continue to describe. And so you see it. It swings. It's coming down, flappity. Its mouth opened up. This big maw. You can see the saliva is all like greenish and yellow and dripping. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Hamill, like, oh boy, sure hope I don't get bit by that. And it's still thinking. Yeah.
Except I'm not actually thinking anything that
It's true.
complicated. I'm just sort of like,
That's fair. Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. So anyway, so how's everybody doing tonight? Doing okay? We doing all right? Helena, you've made it back to the cabin village just fine.
Yes.
You waited around, and it's been a couple hours, and your allies have not returned. It's getting a little dark. You've heard some chatter about a recent, there's a lot of like good vibes going on around the place because of sort of a successful. I don't want to say it wasn't a battle, but a particular group of mountain lions that kind of live up further higher in the mountain. Apparently they drew some particularly wonderful watcher attention towards the rats, and a bunch of like watchers went down and were sweeping through the rat castle. But there's also concern because apparently while you've been gone for the past, sometime during the day, there was like a big theft as one of the storehouses for the cat. Like the cat doesn't have, you don't have a ton of cat food to begin with, but there's apparently a rumor that the rats have raided and taken a lot of it, and so you're down to even smaller numbers. And so there's a lot of bit of combination of exultation from this cool story that you're hearing, but also concern over the lack of food. Okay, so that successfully goes through. Now you can choose Hamill if you want to defend, but that means your next turn you don't have an action, right?
can't do anything anyway.
Okay, so it's up to you if you want to defend.
Yeah, so what do I do for that?
Just roll a fight check. And then all of your successes would essentially cancel out their successes. So right now you're taking some damage. Oh man, this could be really bad if this hits you too. Helena, why don't you, while you're talking around, well, I'm not going to actually have you roll because it's going to take too long. So you start talking around, and maybe you're trying to inquire about what went down, and you're hearing these different things and trying to figure out who to talk to. You start hearing that there is a group, and you've heard vaguely of them before, but there's these group of kind of hickish sort of mountain lions who live up in the mountains by themselves. And they don't really come down to the town very often, but they sure hate rats. And there's only one thing they hate more than rats, and that's watchers. And apparently the rumor is that what they did is they managed to shoot down a drone out of the sky, and then they dropped its carcass, its metallic carcass, somewhere outside of like the rat castle, which suddenly drew a bunch of watcher attention and like just slaughtered a bunch of rats that were holding a line between the war between the rats and the cats. And so everyone's kind of talking them up a bit. And I would say probably in the back of your mind, you would think they really hate watchers, and they don't really come to town very often. And they're good. They're like, it's their own little squad. They're a little rough and tumble. They're a little surly, and they're not the easiest to get along with, but they sound like the type of squad that maybe you would want to try to get on your side.
Could I spend some time making some more alcohol?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So you go ahead and are able to take off one of the hits. So you're only going to take 1 damage as opposed to 2.
Yep.
And then this thing has what's called neurotoxin. So it's one of its powers. If the Moray's bite inflicts damage, which it does, 1 point of damage, its prey is injected with poison, and you are going to suffer a point of fatigue per turn until someone heals you, or you become broken.
If only I could talk to someone and tell them how I'm feeling.
If only you had any fatigue to spare.
If only your healer was with you. While the poison is active, agility cannot be regained in any way.
If 1 agility to spare.
Okay. All right. So then at top of the round, we're going back to McCloud and Cujo. Whichever order you want is fine.
I'll go first, I guess.
Okay. This thing's gnawing away at Hamill.
Is it still within striking distance of me?
Yeah, this thing is flopped down to the ground. Its belly is on the ground, and it's like a dog just gnawing, like just like trying to bite away at Hamill.
So as I see this flying eel monster take control of my dear brother, it's kind of going to give me some PTSD, some flashbacks, some little shell shock moments of me taking advantage of these smaller animals, and it's just going to fuel me with rage. So I'm going to take my hockey mask that's kind of sitting on the back of my neck, and I'm going to pull it over my face. And as I do that, people are kind of going to see like the life in my eyes just kind of disappear, and I'm going to get on all fours and just fucking dig my claws as deep into this moray as I can. I'm going to spend
oh no.
Oh yeah. Let's do 6 points.
Here's 6.
I'm gonna roll first to see if the attack goes through. I'm guessing it will. If it doesn't, then I won't. Okay. So I'm gonna roll for my attack.
Okay.
So fight.
I don't think that went through properly there, Shaideezy. Do you not have your I don't see any of your base die and your skill die. Remember, when you do your special roll, the first pop-up window is now your base die. Yeah.
Put it in.
So you can just roll just whatever number you have in your instinct, just roll that many d6s.
Okay. I thought I hit it, but I might have pressed cancel.
It's okay. This thing's really laggy. Okay. No successes, unfortunately. You can push, but you got a couple 1s in there.
If only that was Logan's roll for his D6s for feral points.
I don't think I'll push. I'll go see if I can buy some, because I do have food.
Okay. What kind of potion are you looking for?
I want alcohol.
Oh, you want alcohol? Okay.
Yeah. I want to bring some Pabst beer to these hicks up on the mountain.
Okay. Okay. So you get a 6 of Pabst Blue Ribbon. No. You get Bush. Bush beer.
Oh my.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, so go for
already this is 6 damage, but there's no way that I'm not gonna let this eel die right here, right now.
Okay.
So I'm still dumping 6 feral points into Predator, which basically increases my damage by 1 for each FP that I use.
Okay.
So it's gonna be 12 total damage.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be rolling my
roll your
my 6d6 right here.
And then you can describe what the kill looks like. Jeez.
So as I jump onto the back of this eel that's just tearing into my poor friend, I'm gonna take each claw and go right into the wings and then tear them off. And then after I rip these off, it's basically just a glorified snake. And I'm just gonna bite down right on the back of its neck, sink my teeth in until they start crunching, and then I'm just gonna twist my head like twice back and forth until it breaks, and then this eel's just kind of dropping lifeless with its kind of poisonous teeth just kind of drooling to the side.
After a certain point, this thing is clearly dead. McCloud, Tchaikovsky, you can see that Cujo is still wrecking this thing. It's dead. It's clearly dead. Its arms have been ripped off.
Holy
Its wings have been ripped off. Oh my goodness. And the dead carcass is on top of Hamill, who also looks to just be completely deranged. Go ahead and roll it again. Okay, so you're
Not bad.
not bad. Yeah,
I can't talk and I can't use tools. That's basically
it's the same thing as Hamill.
Yeah. Should I roll 3d6 for the days since I rolled?
Roll 3d6, but we'll take the highest number.
Okay.
We're not gonna add them together. Okay, so
3
3
days.
days. 3 days. And so the two of them, you take a look at the two of them, and they're these damn badgers. What the hell's going on? And
Blast cannons.
We're now both mute, so we're both just like empty-eyed, like not speaking, just kind of just exhausted.
Eventually,
I mean, you can growl.
Eventually, Cujo stands up, and this now looks like a fat snake is just completely inert, and there's just blood and guts and gore all over the place. Hamill, as you start to pull out of it, just pulling yourself out of the actual carcass itself, it's just exhausting, and you take a point of fatigue, and you should be at 0. Are you broken now? Okay, so you now have 0, and you cannot regain agility in any way until you are healed. So Tchaikovsky and McCloud, you both have your heads and wits about you. Your two badger friends look deranged at this point. Hamill looks like almost like she's just laying on the ground, covered in goo and gore, like because she was unfortunately underneath the eel as Cujo jumped on top. Cujo himself, gore all over him, and he's just got this far off look in his eyes, but he's not running away. At least, what are you two doing?
Would we recognize this as like being feral?
For sure. I think you guys would recognize this is just their feral side has overtaken them a bit.
Man, the badgers are crazy.
It's true, man.
I guess so. Chai is gonna go slowly up to the both of them, like hands up, kind of thing, like not showing them not a threat, and just like I don't know if they can comprehend, but he'll just say out loud, "If you both can hear me, just nod once." So can they understand us talking to them?
They can't talk. Doesn't say anything about understanding other people who talk.
We just can't form human words.
Right.
We can only communicate through animal sounds.
You can't use the comprehend skill, but that's more about like thinking carefully as opposed about like listening. So I would say they can understand you loosely. Like they're super distracted and the feral side is close to taking over the way it happened with Cujo, but not quite there. So like they're still keeping themselves in check some degree.
Okay, so
almost
then
gonna be like whimpering and kind of examining where the bite wound was.
Yeah. So
you
see it's like right on your side, like it just bit you and it managed to catch like the side of your body.
Just gonna see this like.
I'm gonna pull my mask off and then I'm gonna reach down and pick up Hamill and kind of just like put her on my shoulder.
Okay. Yeah, she's definitely wheezing pretty horribly. Okay.
Is there a critical injury for being broken?
No, critical injuries are when your damage goes to 0. Her fatigue her fatigue has gone to 0. So effectively she's just exhausted at this point. She needs to drink water. Unfortunately, the poison is preventing her from regen. So normally she would just drink some water right now and she'd be okay. But she's not going to be able to recover. So you guys are going to have to be carrying her back up the mountain. This is going to be fun.
Thank goodness it's me and not Cujo.
Wait, how does it recover from the poison?
Water.
She has to get healed. Heal check.
What does that take?
A healer. And yours is currently not with you. Like once
I'm in the village.
when you get her to Helena, it'll be fine. Like she'll be fine. But for now, you know that you're going to have to carry her. Like there's just no way. So I'm going to add to Cujo's move check to go up to the cabin village. I'm going to add a +2 modifier or a -2 modifier for carrying Hamill.
I'm going to take 2 sips of water to restore my agility. And Can I scavenge to either make a grappling hook or find a grappling hook to help us get up this mountain?
Of course. Yeah, of course. That's
Cool.
exactly what scavenge is for. So yeah, go ahead and while everyone's catching their breath, go for it.
All right, sent through. Should be in here in a second or two.
Yeah.
How much grub do I need to spend, Jeff, for beer?
So 6. I just rolled a d6.
Okay.
Okay. So you give 6 grub, and you get 6 bottles of some old. Well, no, it's not old because that would be disgusting. It'd be like bread right now. But you get 6 bottles of some kind of homebrew beer.
Just like homebrew, almost moonshine.
Yeah.
Here you go, my friends.
It's got a little bit of raspberry flavor to it. It's really nice. So.
Are we mocking my coffee?
No. Oh yeah, that's right. That's forget.
Over the course of 8 days.
It tastes like. Is that chocolate? I feel a little chocolate on the back end. Okay. So Derek, you're able to find a grappling hook, and you can spend the extra to make it multi-use. So you can keep it if you want. Because you got the.
Is there anything else I could do with the extra, or no?
Check your special skill and see what else your stunts are.
Okay.
I know there's specific things you can do for weapons, but I'm not sure. I think it's the items. It's just whether it's one use or multi-use. Do you have rope already?
No, but I can search for rope. Let me do another scavenge check.
Sure. And then McCloud, Cujo, and Tchaikovsky need to roll move checks for me. Cujo, roll yours at a -2 mod because you're carrying Hamill. What a fun adventure tonight.
I looked it up just to be sure, but when you're rolling feral effects for however many points you spend, if you just get 1 or more or ones, then you just roll from there. You don't have to roll multiple. But I pretty much got the same thing.
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter too much. But
what was the first D6 for your time? Was it 3 or 4?
the time was the same.
Okay.
I believe.
All right. So it's still going to be 3 days for you and 1 day for him.
And the feral effect that I got was pretty much the same. 3 and 4 don't really differ too much. So.
Okay. All right. Good to know for the future. Okay. So we got some move checks. McCloud, you pushed. You're successful. You're good. Tchaikovsky, are you going to push? And then we got a success from Cujo.
I did push.
Sorry. Yeah.
So take 1 point of fatigue, Cujo, but you're able to get up just fine. And then Tchaikovsky, take. Oh, actually, no, that's your scavenge check.
That was for the rope.
Okay, so yeah, you've got some rope. And
so then the grappling hook's good to go. Would that help the party with any future movements?
And I would say you now have permanent grappling hook and rope with you. Like you can use that for as long as you don't roll like a gear check. We'll say whenever you do climb checks, whenever you're climbing up anything, we'll say take a +1 gear die. So like anytime you go to roll it in the future, if you want to use a gear dice, you can go ahead and use it.
Which is basically the extra successes with scavenge is its extra gear bonus equal to the number of successes.
Yeah. So
2 for the I got 2 for the hook and 3 for the rope. So would that be a +2 for the lowest bonus roll? Or wait, no, 1 beyond. So then it would So would +1 be accurate?
I think +1 for the grappling hook. I mean, there might actually be a grappling hook artifact. I'll have to look it up. I'm not going to look it up now.
Yeah, I'm scrolling around right now in my turn.
I'll say between grappling hook and rope, just take +2 gear bonus for now, and then we'll figure it out the actual stats later.
Gotcha. All
I'll flip through the
movement.
cards and see if there's something relatively similar.
All right,
and so remember,
my movement as well.
Add 2 gear dice when the pop up comes up. Add 2 gear dice, and that's for using the rope.
I did add 2. It should go through.
Okay. All right. I'm going to assume that you're going to be successful, and eventually you all make it up the mountain to the cat village, the cabin, and you get to like the front gate, and a couple of the cats are kind of looking at you a little strangely, like who this strange ragtag group and stuff. Again, they're isolationists, but they're not like mean or hateful. You get a couple looks, and one of the guards at the gate steps up. You see this lynx with dark fur, and just ask your intentions. Like, what are you
we
here
need
for?
help. Our friend here is poisoned, and we know there's a healer friend here.
Okay.
I could see her.
All right. You got 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and roll a dominance check, and you can do so. Oh God! Don't push.
Wow, the grappling hook immediately exploded.
Oh no.
What is this game?
That's only if you push. That's only if you push.
Oh, okay. I was about to. I was about to be so offended
You're
by my
good.
dice.
You're good. Remember that ones? So like the bio symbol, biohazard symbol on the yellow, and then the explosion on the gear dice. That's only bad if you push. Okay. All right. So you roll your dominate. That's a success, and then I will quickly roll 3d6s. I failed, and so they quickly bring you over to the healing hut at a certain point, and you can see that there's a variety of cats who are in terrible stages. Like some of them are like missing limbs, others are just in like these weird cots, and there's blood all over the place, stained, and it's like a trauma center. And you can see like there's two cats that are working. Neither of them are Helena, but maybe when you mention her name, someone kind of will help you chase her down, and eventually Helena and the rest of you are reunited in the healing tent, and you guys fill her in on what went down. And who was it? Was it McCloud or was it Tchaikovsky who did the no nature roll about the poison?
I did.
Okay.
So you would probably be able to tell her then, and then Helena, if you want to make a heal check.
I just go into my boring ramble. There's a neurotoxin, you see. It takes
Yes,
over the
yes.
subcutical area.
Very much.
He brings up a
Meanwhile,
PowerPoint
Hamill's like-
presentation, and he just starts to show everything. So these are all the graphs and everything. Yeah.
Helena just slowly pushes you to the corner so you can sit down.
It's like an undergrad biology student pre-med telling a doctor like kind of poison it is. Like, yeah.
Is he mansplaining? Is that what's going on?
Yes.
Telling you exactly what you're doing. Oh, it's so embarrassing. Okay, so go ahead and you can roll your heal check for Hamill. This is to suck the poison out. You gotta suck the poison out.
Ooh, I was successful.
I still remember
The
that.
talent,
City
I guess.
stickers.
Successful.
Oh, look at this guy over here.
Uh,
-3 modification on your next skill check. Okay, so yeah, you do manage to heal her of the poison. And I would say you probably would know, Helena, between you and Tchaikovsky's knowledge check, if she just starts drinking some water, she'll eventually kind of recover some of that fatigue.
So now that Hamill's safe, I'm gonna take a trip back down if it's not super far.
It's
And-
dark, but you can go back down if you want. It's getting dark.
And just try and collect some of that poison from the eel itself.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'll give you like a bottle too. I'll be
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
give me some of that.
Cool. So let's go ahead. I think there's a specific skill for this. There actually is. I think there is a specific skill for like taking the neurotoxin. I can't remember what it was. I think it's actually from the original book, but we'll just do. We'll just do no nature. No,
nature.
Yeah, just do no nature and no modification on one or the other. That's fine. There's a specific talent, if I recall correctly, that you can take, which allows you to kind
thank
of do that
God.
kind of stuff. So,
One, that
All right.
like 20% chance.
all right. So we'll say that you collected enough for maybe 5 uses of this poison that you can fill up in that bottle.
All right, I'm gonna give 3 of them to Helena.
Okay.
don't let that one guy catch you with it. Fedora Man. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah, Secundus.
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
That's interesting. You've got poison there. You normally give poison to your lovers.
That's how he's gonna be creepy. Okay. Eventually night arrives, and Helena, you would know that's probably not safe for you all to go wandering up the mountain any further.
Yeah.
So maybe did they crash at your place?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Ooh, you could use as 5 people into your residence and come out alive.
All right. You can mark off your rations for that's Derek's bird, by the way, for everyone to chat. Derek's
Are you
bird.
kidding me? That's
Twig says
Hamill.
hello.
Twig says hello. Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and mark off your rations for food and water for your daily intake.
I'm taking an extra water to increase my fatigue.
Perfect. So if anybody needs to recover damage, go ahead, take extra food. If anyone needs to recover fatigue, like Logan just did, take some extra water. Who, if anyone needs to like, anyone low on? Did anyone take any doubt? Didn't McCloud? Didn't you take doubt at some point?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're covering that. I have to like do some animal things. So I'll go around pissing on things to assert my dominance over
My
it.
house.
Okay. So as the night progresses, you guys just see McCloud wander up, and he's just like going to different corners of Helena's
Oh,
house, both
no.
inside and out. Helena maybe shoos him outside, and he starts like just pissing in different
I
places.
got a broom and I'm just straight.
And after he's done, he's just like,
Fantastic.
oh god, I feel better now. I feel safer. You know, I marked the territory. I know what territory's mine. Everything's good to go. Okay.
Since we're in Helena's house, is there drinking water nearby? Maybe I could fill up my canteen or something, get a
Yeah,
few
Yes.
supplies.
For all the habitats, water is usually easily available. Food, however, will not be easily available.
Right.
But water.
You think I'd just roll D6?
D6 fine.
I'll take 2 waters.
Okay. So as you guys are eating, resting, Helena, you probably fill them in on your lead. There is a group of mountain lions known as the Magnums. That's what they call themselves.
Okay.
And that they are kind of a rough and tumble hickish group. They're not as classy as Helena and Octavia are. Hey, Tombstone, thanks for joining us tonight. You've probably explained to them that you've already got all the booze and stuff that you hope to kind of assuage them. When you were waiting for them to come back up the mountain, you got an idea of there are ways up the mountain, and it's going to take some time to get up there, and a little bit remote, and they don't like to be found, but they apparently have some kind of, they sort of take up their hideout in some sort of broken down cabin somewhere up the mountain. But you rest, you recover. Morning comes. You hear more news of the war between rats and cats. There's a lot of anger that's being expressed by these groups of cats and lynxes and such. You see your sister doing the political thing of trying to tell everybody that food will be evenly distributed and stuff like that, because the food is definitely on lower supply. And then you can move up the mountain if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what we'll do.
Perfect. Okay, so as you start heading up, it is getting later in the year, and so it is getting a little bit colder. It's not full on winter or anything yet, but it's getting cooler. And as you move up the mountain, obviously it's getting cooler as well. The further you get away from the cabin, you know that there's a few things to concern yourselves with. One is the higher you go, harder it is to breathe. And so there's kind of a line of demarcation that most cats don't go to. And then there's just the delicate terrain here and there. And you also know that at a certain point, you can kind of follow some of the cliff line, and you can almost look down on the Western Forbidden Zone, meaning the idea of there being drones in the area is fairly likely. And so there is kind of a certain concern for Watcher activity that you see coming and going from that Western Forbidden Zone. So why don't somebody start rolling a scout check for me here as you do your best to try and navigate the mountain and the forest and hunt.
I'll give you +1 and help.
Sounds good.
Roll an extra D6
roll an
because I
extra
sent the roll
D6.
through.
Yep. All right.
Standard one went through so fast, but there we go.
So weird.
You want to push it?
I'll push.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. So go ahead and take your 2 points of confusion. So you guys watch as Tchaikovsky steps up, knowing Hamill she had a rough night, rough day. He's like, I got this. And then you see him as he's holding what looks to be a map, but is probably just like a menu from like a Chinese restaurant. And he's maybe calculating distances here and there, turns it upside down, goes over, and you guys circle around a bit. You go up the mountain and down the mountain and realize you kind of just backtracked. You wasted a couple hours, but eventually you find a mountain path that seems to be consistently going upwards, navigating between this heavy tree and vegetative area. At a certain point, we'll say it's McCloud. You hear something. You kind of hear this strange rumbling. Oh, thanks. Well, nice to hear that. Are you over at the Zweihander one? Is that what you're doing? We've seen you in the Ailing Isle, like the Ailing Isle show. So we're actually working on another show too, but we're not ready to announce it yet. We got to work on our whenever we're gonna do it. Might be a Saturday, might be a Monday, but we'll announce it when it's ready. So so as you're moving up, I am a busy boy. Look at him. Look at Logan being so nice to me. Look at that. Look how nice he is. He's just like, next time I lose control of myself and I go feral, don't have anything.
He's like,
don't do anything.
Please.
Please don't make me kill people accidentally or kill animals so I have PTSD now. But McCloud, you hear a rumbling and you see suddenly as there's rocks tumbling down in front of you. And it's moments later that you see a herd of these huge kind of pig/buffalo-like creatures moving in your direction. I want everyone to go ahead and make a move check, move test as these things come tumbling in your direction.
So
Get
what
out
is
of the
it
way.
exactly?
These are these
Like
like
a pig
dozens of like pigs/ like mutated pigs in some way. They're still.
Is this
they're
how
animals.
Mufasa died?
This is how Mufasa died.
Oh God. Okay.
All right. So I've got the only two people who didn't pass. It looks like McCloud, you failed. Tchaikovsky, is that a fail for you as well?
Sure is.
All right. So I got a push from. So so let's see. Tchaikovsky, are you pushing? Take 1 point of fatigue, McCloud.
Yeah.
All right, I'll try.
All right. No one got any extra successes to help.
Good Lord.
Take 2 points of fatigue. So for the two of you, Tchaikovsky and McCloud, unfortunately, two of the only people who can talk right now. Hamill.
I can talk.
Well, two of the only people you can.
Okay.
Hamill, later in the day it'll come back, but in the morning, say in the morning it's not so good. You're not a morning person in real life, so it makes sense in the
Works
actual
for
game.
me.
So as this herd comes stumbling down this mountain, you see closely following them is a bunch of these birds and insects and stuff that are sweeping down as well. McCloud and Tchaikovsky, you both get caught up in this stampede, and both of you can go ahead and mark 1 point of damage as you get caught up in the legs of these different creatures. The rest of you manage to nimbly dodge out of the way, reach up, grab a limb, and pull yourselves up out of like you're kind of holding on and hugging as they're running beneath you, or you like huddle behind a rock or something like that, and you manage to get out of the way. And it's about a good 30 seconds or so before you think the dust has died down and like the stragglers of this herd begin coming as well. And when you stand up and you look, you can see swooping in from the west. You can feel a great heat, and you can see these big black clouds as fire is just rapidly spreading in your direction from the west into the southwest, and these things were running kind of eastwardly, southeasternly. You saw a few of them tumble off the side of the mountain and just go one after the other, almost basically killing themselves, and a few are just nimbly trying to hop down. What do you guys want to do? You know that you have to go further up the mountain, but the wildfire is kind of in the way. What do you want to do?
It feels like one of those when the birds start flying away, you might
It's
want to go in the same direction.
Exactly what's
birds.
happening right now.
Yep.
I'm gonna roll dominate on the fire to see if I can get it to succeed.
He's just gonna scream
Stop.
at it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, you're chasing after them. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're running. You come to that same kind of cliff face where you saw several of them just like lemmings go right over the side, and you look down and it's like, holy crap, that's like a good 50 yards down. And sadly, there's a bunch of like splattered carcasses from this herd that are just there. A few other them are like struggling, and they're like huddling, and they're scared and nervous, and they don't know which way to go. Somebody roll a scout check to see if you can find some sort of shelter as this wildfire is still coming and coming.
I can take it, or Hamill can. I have a 3 in scout.
Go ahead.
You tell him, Twig. So, it's swooping in at almost at a speed that you wouldn't have expected. It's just so much faster than the animals themselves, and you can see it's just all of the trees are just ablaze. The vegetation is ablaze, like, you know, almost like a liquid moving over the rocks of the mountain as well. And it's just like an avalanche of fire coming down and coming from the west. All right, still stalling. It's red fire, some orange, a little bit of yellow in there. There's smoke, all sorts of buzzing. So you look around.
What are the wind conditions like?
It's definitely a westernly to easternly wind for sure. It's certainly warming the mountain up. You notice off to the east, Tchaikovsky, that there appears to be this opening in the mountain, like a cave opening, a little ledge that you can climb up to a few feet up, and then kind of a rocky, very small mouth, almost as if something was removed from it. It's like it's a very shortened or heightened. Looking around, it's either jump off the cliff or kind of climb into the mouth of this small burrow in the mountainside of the side of the mountain.
Yeah, I'll just scream and point and say, "Everyone in."
Okay, everybody make move checks. This hustle as this thing is catching up on you as he's scanning.
I'm using an animal power.
Go for it. Roll your d6 as well. Oh, Derek. It was a 6 he's got to roll, right, Cujo? Oh,
my.
No. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, the first one was me failing it. The second one is, I guess, whatever happens. I still haven't even done the actual move roll.
Yes. But the one is not the good one.
Neither one is a good one.
I'm not rolling any more dice. Whatever happens, just let it happen to me. I'm not
you can't
these dice
because
anymore.
Jeff has full control of your character now. So.
I mean, next session. Fuck these dice.
So, as how did everybody else's move checks go? Let's see, anybody fail? Helena, you pushed, so take 1 point of fatigue.
Yep.
So
I did. I'm gonna push.
Okay, so all of you go into the direction as like Tchaikovsky's like hanging behind and like pointing, and he's like doing that classic, the heroic move of standing behind and like sweeping like everybody this way, and Cujo's kind of lagging behind a bit, just probably pissing Tchaikovsky off a little bit. But eventually, all of you start climbing into the cave, and just as Tchaikovsky's going to come in, you see a little bit of fire trickle down and catch onto his arm, and you can see his jacket begins to get ablaze, parts of his wagon, and he just flips out. His eyes just go this big black, and as he turns, you can see the orange reflecting from the fire as he turns around and just bolts away from you all, like, and you don't even know where. And as you go to reach for him, the fire sweeps in, and it kind of catches the little hairs on like Cujo's hand as he's like reaching out for him, and you guys are now cut off as the fire is chasing Tchaikovsky, and we'll see what happens to him. As you guys venture a little bit further into the cave, as the heat is just too much, you come across something on the ground. Does anybody have any, like the cave's a little bit winding, and as you wind a little bit in, you start to lose a little bit of light. Does anybody have like a torch that they can stick out into the wildfire? Be like, okay.
If only we had the scavenger.
Yeah, if only.
So we'll say as you get on your hands and knees and you start investigating, it looks to be a body, and it looks to be a body of. Oh, you're not really sure because it's very difficult to recognize. Why don't you roll a heal check, Helena?
Okay.
Also, Derek, roll a d6 for how long you're feral for.
Thanks. I like how Logan's just in charge of all the animal power stuff. It's so helpful when other people are like in charge of certain roles.
And then start looking for a new animal power. In case
Yo,
you
what is
didn't,
with these rolls? For God's sake!
You're like me on the first time.
It's the first time. And just start rolling a new character because you're gonna die in a fire.
So for 6 hours, you're going to be outrunning a volcano. Fantastic.
You guys are gonna find him. He's gonna be one with the Shamble Tusk herd. That's what he's doing.
It would be beef jerky, lizard jerky.
So
You lived a long life.
You did. I know. You're like in your 50s or something, whatever it was.
Yeah,
you're an
you
old
are
man.
the oldest.
It's all good. The old man's gone. Okay, so are we waiting on your roll, Helena?
Yep, that's all we're waiting for.
So you're starting to look through this body, and you start kind of touching the skin. It's got some clothes on. The clothes seem to be in relatively good condition. relative to a post-apocalyptic setting.
Yeah.
You know, patchwork, stitchy, stitched together. You can see that there's the skin itself is kind of flaky and hardened, and it's almost like shriveled up like a raisin as you start going through it. And either this person was amazingly old, but you recognize the general anatomy as that of a cat of some kind. Bigger than you. You're not sure which, but it's almost impossible to tell like the specific species because the body is desiccated. Like everything drained from it, like as if the liquids within this particular body were completely drained out. And as you look, you notice even more carefully there are these tiny bites, those little almost like sting marks all over the place.
I'll take the fire. You guys are in a giant spider's cave. Get the fuck out.
And as you turn to tell the rest of the group, you hear and you can see like this massive shadow encroaching upon you all from deeper into the cave as a giant gnat storm descends upon you all. And that's where we're gonna end tonight because it's 6:30 and Derek's got a hard out in 15 minutes. Let's just end there and we'll pick up on that next week.
Oh my god!
So you got fire on the one side, you got a gnat storm on the other, you got a desiccated corpse, you got your scavenger fella caught out in the wildfire.
What's gonna happen to my wagon?
I think you're probably gonna end up having to lose it, and you just got the canvas for it too.
I'm
It's like
so
all
upset. These dice were screwing me over so much today.
But it's fun. It's a cool story. All right, so let's do our XP really quickly before we head out. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. So all you get the +1 XP for participating. Who thinks they sacrificed or risked something for their specific tribe? Tchaikovsky?
I lost all my stuff. I'm just being a smartass.
For your tribe. So for the Badger tribe,
I would say Cujo did because he like challenged the one guy.
Okay.
You know, some like rank or status.
Who is Chelios who you hate as well, Cujo?
Chelios is who I hate. Yeah, he's my.
I would say let's give you an XP for that one as opposed to risking, because otherwise that's like double dipping. So okay, so we'll say nobody else for tribe. Risk something for the resistance. Anybody want to make a case for that?
Hamill's life, maybe.
How about PC buddy? Who helps out their PC buddy?
I'm gonna.
My PC buddy just went down the mountain, so I did not do anything.
After experience is done, I'm gonna reassign a PC buddy because I feel like I'm helping Hamill way more than Helena. So
everyone should just make Hamill the PC buddy, and you
losing out on a lot of XP here.
Okay.
You did get me poison, so I don't know.
Oh yeah.
That's fair. You went out in the dark by yourself down the mountain. I should have probably rolled some shit, but I wanted to get it over.
I was hovering over the move check, but I was waiting for you.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Sure. Okay. And then you get sacrificing or risking something for an NPC you want to keep safe. Anybody really?
I didn't do shit for Octavia.
Hamill, you didn't really do anything. You just kind of asked if he was okay. You didn't really like step up to Chelios or anything. So I'll say no to that.
I mean, Helena healed.
She helped heal Hamill, right?
Oh, I thought she rolled a heal check on that desiccated corpse that we found.
That was just for identification. That was just for identifying it. Yeah. Okay, so no one for NPC. NPC the hate. Logan, you get that. Cujo gets that for standing up to Chelios.
Yeah. I also hate Chelios, but I didn't really do anything about it. So.
Okay. And then anybody do anything towards their big dream?
No, not really.
I'll give McCloud something as you try to help out young Slippy 18.
Slippery.
Sorry. Do you know the name I gave the blue fox, by the way? Can you guess? Can you guess?
What was it?
I
was to say wolf.
I looked up.
Is it Crystal or something?
It's Crystal. That's correct. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I looked up.
Nice.
Star Fox NPC names. Just carry it over. I did this once when we played Starfinder. When you had the names of one of your characters, something like that, was like
it's like Pinocchio or something.
And so like you're
Orion.
Yeah, and I made your whole side story about.
Yeah, I didn't catch that because I didn't know Candlewick is a Pinocchio character.
I did Candlewick and all sorts of things. It's crazy. All right, so then Cujo gets 2, McCloud gets 2.
So what happens if you go over 10?
Yeah, what happens when you hit 10?
XP.
go
You
back
just
up
spend them.
You go to 11.
You should spend them.
What do you spend
Every-
experience points on?
5
Going
X
up every
you can,
5 points.
Every
Ew.
5 XP can buy you a new talent. Okay, or you can raise a skill level by 1.
So is it cumulative? It's not like once you reach the number.
Is there a
Go
max
Go back
level?
down and start over.
What do you mean cumulative?
So like once you reach 5 and you like buy a skill, it doesn't keep going to like 10.
No. So
No.
if you
No.
spend it, go back to 0.
There's no
Just
reason-
because it only goes up to 10.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Okay, that makes sense.
There's no reason to keep over 5 because 5 is the price for both advancements. So
Oh, okay.
So even if you already have, if you have skill rank 4 in something, it still costs 5 XP to get skill rank 5 as it does to go from 0 to 1. So it's the same price. It doesn't scale. So once you hit 5 XP, you should just spend it right away on whatever you want.
I see.
The only thing with talents is you can't pick, or the only thing with skills is you can't pick other specialist skills. So brew potions is still a healer thing, scavenge is still a scavenger thing, etc. Okay, I think we're good, right? Logan, are we moving to Saturday regularly, or is this just a regular?
It's gonna. I can send you my schedule because it's kind of all. I'm on what they call orientation right now, so I'm basically following someone else's schedule.
Right.
It seems like right now Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are gonna be my best days.
Okay.
It seems like most of the days I work are either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Mondays.
Okay.
But I'll send you my schedule. Maybe we can try and work something out. Figure out a day that works well for everyone.
Wednesdays are usually good for you, right, Ashley?
Yeah, Wednesdays are solid. Tuesdays aren't.
What about you, Derek? How are Wednesdays?
So my regular work schedule is Sunday through Thursday, 2 p.m. to midnight. So I could do Wednesday. It would just have to be earlier in the day, which I don't know if it's
You work
possible for everyone.
2 to midnight. Is that what you work?
Yeah. I'm just because we're doing the work
yeah.
from home for the next
Right.
few weeks.
Okay.
That's why I'm Monday to Friday now.
Okay. Logan will send the schedule, and we'll figure out the next time we play. So those in the chat channel, follow. You can follow me on Twitter at lollygaggerco. So LOLLYGAGGERCO, and I'll post when we'll play next. Hopefully, we're trying to do it once a week, so it's just a question of which day at this point, and we'll go from there. All right, so that's it. Thank you to everybody who joined us. If you like what we're doing, catch us on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central over on twitch.tv/ZweihanderRPG, where we play Zweihander, which is a really, really fun game. Different type of game, but very fun. You can also download our podcast, audio only. New episode comes out every single Monday. Also a Zweihander. That's also a Zweihander game. And we have some news for a 4th show, Rumbling, that we might be doing soon as well. So, and follow the channel. That'd be awesome if we can get some followers, and we'll go from there. So thank you to everyone who joined. Thank you to everybody who's watching this on VOD or is watching this on YouTube later. And we're out for the night. Bye.
Bye.